Hey, Broken World Entertainment, and do you want more proof that Hollywood is truly running out of ideas? Because there's a new rumour doing the rounds, and that rumour is the Mummy prequel is in the works. Yeah, you heard that right. A prequel to the Mummy. Now, not the Tom Cruise Mummy, but the Brendan Fraser Mummy. So, we're going to have a look at this because this just sounds horrendous and also sounds like it doesn't make sense with a part of it. But we'll have a look. So the headline for this is The Mummy prequel rumoured to be in the works at Universal with Wes Tooke, I think it's Tooke, penning the script. So despite getting mixed reviews at the time, Stephen Sommers' The Mummy proved to be a decent, if unspectacular, hit when it was released back in 1999 and has remained a firm fan favourite over the years. I honestly don't remember mixed reviews for it, and to say it did decent, it was a pretty big success if I remember correctly, and I remember going to see that movie. So it says 2 direct sequels and a Scorpion King spin-off starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson weren't nearly as successful, and Universal Pictures' more recent reboot starring Tom Cruise bombed to such a degree that it closed the tomb on the studio's plans for a Dark Universe franchise after a single movie. That's right, people. Alex Kurtzman killed the Dark Universe before it even started with one movie. That's what a genius that guy is, and yet they keep handing them projects. Here, have Star Trek to kill. Ugh. So anyway, it says, even so, rumours persist that another Mummy movie is in development. Previous reports have claimed that a new reboot or direct sequel to the 99 original might be in the works, but insider Daniel Richman believes the project is actually going to be a prequel. We don't have much more to go on for the time being, but Wes Tooke, Midway and The Rescue, whatever the hell, Midway, that was the war movie with, why am I blanking on his name? Woody Harrelson, wasn't it? I think that's what that was. The Rescue, I recognise the name, but I don't think I've seen it. I can't remember what that is. He's said to be attached to pen the script. A story set before the events of the first movie would presumably focus on early life of the monster himself, Imhotep, which, if that's the case, then you don't have a mummy. Or possibly, this is the part that doesn't make sense, Brendan Fraser's character, Rick O'Connell, and Rachel Weisz's Evie. A prequel would also mean that another actor would be cast as a younger Rick, which might not be the wisest move given the resurgence in popularity Fraser has experienced over the past couple of years. When asked if he might be interested in reprising his most famous role in a 2023 interview, the whale actor seemed more than willing to return to battle the forces of darkness, saying, "I'm not opposed to it. I don't know an actor who doesn't want the job. I don't think I've been this famous and unsalaried at the same time in my professional life, so sign me up." The part of them saying a young version of Rick O'Connell and Eve, that doesn't make sense, because that means you'd be making a movie based when? In between The Mummy and The Mummy Returns? How else would you have the two of them characters in it? You know what I mean? They only met in The Mummy. So if it's a prequel to The Mummy, then it couldn't possibly be the two of them characters. If you base it on Imhotep himself, again, you're removing the idea of the Mummy being anywhere in a Mummy prequel. So a prequel doesn't really sound right to me when you're thinking like, well, where would you place it and how would you do it? Imhotep is the one who was meant to be cursed. That was the first mummy to kind of happen, and he's the one who brought all the others back. So are they saying they would do a movie set before him or around him, but there's going to be mummies? Are they saying they're going to do like, the only way you could really look at it is they're going to try and tell you the story of Rick O'Connell in between the times when they were at, what was the city called again? I can't remember. At the very beginning of the Mummy, the first Mummy, and in between Mummy Returns, like, or sorry, not in between that and Mummy Returns, in between them finding that city and him being captured, basically was going to get executed in the first movie. Which means you're going to be telling us what? A story that's like a couple of days long? I don't see that working either. The idea of a prequel to something like The Mummy is stupid and makes no sense, because the Mummy's first interaction was in the original 99 movie. So how do you make a prequel to that? You know, it's different if it's the likes of Dracula, because you can go so far back. Just look at Last Voyage of the Demeter. Good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But it was about the story of Dracula being brought from Transylvania to London. So obviously you could go back and tell that story. But the likes of the Mummy? No, I really don't see it being a prequel. But this is Hollywood we're talking about, and Universal are desperate right now for franchises. Yes, and I wouldn't put it past them to go, hey, let's do a prequel to The Mummy, because what could possibly go wrong with that idea? And it's funny as well, because The Mummy will be returning theatres, and it's coming out on the July 5th for its 25th anniversary. It's got quite a nice new poster, actually, for it. A lot of these re-releases are make nice posters, actually. You see the new Star Trek, is it 4 or 3? I think it's Star Trek 3, the new poster they made for that, and they're putting it back in the cinemas as well. They're getting nice artwork for these re-releases. Better artwork and better posters than new posters for new movies that are just like, oh look, it's a face, and none of them are actually in the image together and stuff like that. It's all photoshopped, and you're just like, bleh. Whereas these posters are cool. But again, a prequel to The Mummy, I don't see that working. Of course, the Scorpion King, his story was a prequel to the Mummy movie, so unless they try and do something like that. But again, if you do that, you're obviously not going to be using a character like Imhotep, and you definitely ain't going to be using Rick O'Connell or Evie, which just makes no sense. But what do you think about the idea of a Mummy prequel, of all things? Never mind sequels or even reboots, but a prequel. Ugh. Tell me you're out of ideas without telling me you're out of ideas. Good God. So, with that, I shall lay this one to rest, I suppose. Yes, we have to throw in a few puns. So, cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.